You spent $250 on a spinning reel, took it out 3 or 4 times a season, maybe 5 if summer was good. And somewhere in year 2, you noticed the drag started stuttering. A little hesitation at the beginning of a run. Then the handle got a slight wobble. Then one of the retrieve cycles started grinding like there was sand in it, which there might have been, but the reel was barely used. Meanwhile, your buddy is still running the same $55 Penn he bought years ago. It still smooths out fine, the drag is still reliable, and it has never been opened past a rinse with the garden hose. You want to explain that, because it is worth explaining. Hit subscribe before we get into it, because this channel is going to save you money at the tackle shop if you give it a few minutes. I'm Jerry Davis, and I've spent enough time around fishing gear, tackle shops, and the kind of anglers who actually fish hard to know that price and durability do not always move together. Not even close. The question this video is really asking is not whether budget reels are secretly incredible. The question is why some premium reels fail faster than they have any right to fail, and why certain simple, affordable reels keep working season after season with almost no drama. By the end of this, you'll understand what makes a reel hold up, what makes one fall apart, what you are actually paying for at the top of the price range, and how to match what's in your hand to the way you actually fish. Let's get into it. The first thing we need to clear up is what causes a reel to fail in the first place, because most anglers never think about this until the reel is already broken. The most common failure points on any spinning reel are the bearings, the drag system, and the internal gear mesh. That's it. Everything else is secondary. The frame, the spool, the handle knob, those things can crack, bend, or corrode, but they rarely kill a reel the way those 3 internal systems do. Keep that in mind as we go through this. Now, let's start with bearings, because this is where a lot of expensive reels get themselves into trouble in ways anglers don't expect. If you look at the marketing for a high-end spinning reel, one of the first things you'll see is the bearing count. 12 bearings, 14 bearings. Some reels push it even further, and that sounds impressive, right? More bearings, smoother reel. On paper, yes. In practice, it depends entirely on the quality of those bearings, how well they are sealed, and whether the angler is doing anything to protect them. Here's what the bearing count advertising doesn't tell you. Manufacturers know that a reel with 14 bearings sounds more advanced than one with 7. What they don't always emphasize is that more bearings means more failure points, more entry points for water and debris, and more components that need lubrication to stay functional. A reel with 14 cheap, poorly shielded bearings will degrade faster than a reel with 6 quality sealed bearings that are correctly installed and properly matched to the application. Anglers who pay for bearing count without understanding bearing quality are paying for a number on a spec sheet, not for actual performance in the field. The line roller bearing is the one that usually goes first. On spinning reels used in saltwater, even moderate saltwater, a single afternoon without rinsing can start the corrosion process. Salt doesn't announce itself. It gets into tiny gaps, sits there, and begins working on whatever metal it can reach. Chrome steel bearings, which many entry to mid-level reels use, are harder than stainless steel, but they corrode faster. That combination matters a lot if you are fishing near salt. Stainless steel bearings hold up better to moisture, but even those need proper sealing and regular attention to stay smooth. Now, here is the thing about that $60 reel that has been sitting in the garage for years and still works. It may only have 3 or 4 bearings. It may not have the silky retrieve feel that a $300 reel has in the store. But those few bearings are doing less work, covering fewer contact points, and in many cases, they are adequately shielded for the freshwater environments most recreational anglers fish. Fewer moving parts means fewer things to go wrong. And when a simpler reel is matched to moderate freshwater use, the reduction in complexity becomes an advantage rather than a limitation. The drag system is the next place things go sideways on premium reels. And this one catches a lot of anglers off guard because they paid specifically for the drag. High-end reels market their drag systems heavily. Maximum drag ratings, sealed drag, carbon drag, heat-resistant washers. Some of that is genuinely useful. Some of it is designed for serious tournament situations and offshore fishing that the average weekend angler will never encounter. When an angler uses a reel on 10-pound bass, occasional walleye, or stocked trout, they are running drag pressure that almost any functioning drag system can handle. The advanced drag on a premium reel does not provide a meaningful advantage in those conditions. What it does is add complexity to a system that needs periodic maintenance, which many anglers skip. Felt drag washers, which show up on many spinning reels across a wide price range, degrade with regular use. Heat buildup from long fights causes the lubricant in drag systems to migrate out over time. If a reel spends a long time sitting in a tackle bag between seasons without any maintenance, that lubricant dries or separates, and the next time you set the drag and hook a fish, you get that stuttering, jerking pull instead of a smooth release. It is not always a sign that the reel is broken. It is often a sign that nobody opened it up and did the basic upkeep that any mechanical system eventually requires. But that is not what the marketing was implying when you paid $250 for it. The budget reel that has outlasted the expensive one in that scenario almost certainly has a simpler drag, fewer washers, a more basic but functional system. And in freshwater conditions under moderate load, a simpler drag system is easier to maintain and less likely to fail in a specific and unexpected way during a fight. That is not a compliment to poor engineering. That is a realistic observation about what most anglers actually need on most fishing trips. Let's talk about gear construction for a minute, because this is where the genuine differences between budget and premium reels are most visible. Premium reels from established manufacturers often use cold-forged aluminum or brass gears, which are cut and finished to tighter tolerances. That means smoother power transfer, less slop in the gear mesh, and better performance when the reel is under load. A cheap reel with zinc alloy gears or soft aluminum gears will show wear faster under repeated heavy use. If you are throwing heavy swim baits, fighting larger fish regularly, or fishing hard several days a week, that gear quality difference is real and it matters. But if you fish 15 or 20 times a year in freshwater, targeting bass, panfish, walleye, or trout, and you are not throwing enormous baits or grinding through thick cover constantly, the load on those gears is relatively modest. The gears in a $40 to $60 reel may show some wear over time, but they may also outlast your patience for keeping the same reel before you find a reason to upgrade. The failure point for most recreational anglers is not gear wear. It is corrosion, neglect, and misuse. Now let's name some names, because this conversation needs to be specific to actually be useful. The Pflueger President has been a reliable, affordable spinning reel for a long time. It runs in the $50 to $70 range, depending on where you buy it and what size you get. Graphite body, aluminum spool, smooth retrieve, honest drag. It is not going to replace a high-end finesse reel for tournament competition, and its internal gear material is not built for punishment the way a machined aluminum body reel is. But matched to average freshwater fishing, it consistently earns positive reports from anglers who have used it across multiple seasons without any drama. That reputation did not come from a marketing campaign. It came from the reel doing what it was supposed to do, repeatedly, without requiring a lot of attention. The Penn Pursuit IV is another reel that shows up in this conversation regularly, and rightfully so. Penn has a long history in the saltwater fishing world, and the Pursuit line brings some of that corrosion resistance into a more affordable package. Full metal body, HT, 100 drag washers, and a sealed design that holds up better to moisture than a lot of what you find in the same price range. The Penn Pursuit IV is not a reel you buy to impress anyone at the boat ramp. It is a reel you buy because it works, it can handle the occasional saltwater exposure, and it is not going to become a repair project after its second season. Now contrast those with what happens to a premium reel in the hands of someone who does not maintain it. High-end spinning reels from major manufacturers are precision instruments. They are designed to perform at a high level, under heavy load, in demanding conditions, over a long time. But that engineering comes with an expectation that the owner understands how to care for it. A reel stored wet, used in salt, and not rinsed thoroughly, never lubricated, dragged across boat decks, thrown in a truck bed without a case, is going to deteriorate regardless of what it cost. The precision that makes a premium reel perform at its best also makes it more sensitive to mistreatment. That is not a flaw in the reel. That is the angler failing to hold up their end of the relationship. The $60 reel that has lasted a decade usually survived for two reasons. First, it was matched to relatively light demands: freshwater use, moderate line weight, targets that don't run long drags. Second, the angler using it probably did a few basic things right without even thinking about them. Dried it off after use, kept it in a bag, maybe ran a drop of oil on the line roller every year or two. Nothing complicated. Just basic care that kept the simple mechanics functioning within the tolerances they were built to handle. Here's a pro tip that applies regardless of what you paid for a reel. The line roller is the component that gets the most friction during a retrieve, and it is the most neglected spot when it comes to lubrication. One drop of quality reel oil on the line roller at the start of each season does more for your reel's lifespan than most other maintenance steps combined. If you are fishing in or near salt, do it more often. That small habit alone can add years to the useful life of any reel, budget, or premium. Bearing noise is how many reels announce that they are in trouble before they actually fail. A reel that was perfectly smooth on delivery and now sounds slightly rough on the retrieve is telling you that something inside needs attention. On a premium reel, that usually means it is time to clean and re-grease the bearings. On a budget reel, it may mean the same thing, or it may mean the bearing quality has reached its limit, and replacement is the more practical option. The difference is that a quality spinning reel from a major manufacturer will often have replacement parts available, and a service program if you want to have it professionally maintained. A no-name budget reel may not, and at that price point, replacement is usually cheaper than repair anyway. This brings up a point about warranty and support that gets overlooked in price comparisons. When you buy a reel from an established brand, even a mid-range one, you are buying access to customer service, replacement parts, and in some cases, a warranty that will cover manufacturing defects. A no-name reel from an import retailer may look impressive on the spec sheet, but if the drag stack falls apart or the handle arm cracks, you are on your own. That lack of support is not priced into the purchase at checkout, but it shows up eventually. Can we also talk about the angler who buys a premium saltwater reel and uses it exclusively for dock fishing at a freshwater lake? This is not a criticism of the person buying it. Everyone wants good equipment. But that reel was engineered for specific demands, and if those demands are never placed on it, the price difference does not translate into a better fishing experience. You are paying for capability you are not using. The weekend angler fishing a small bass lake or a stocked reservoir does not need a reel with a 40-pound maximum drag rating. They need a reel that is smooth, reliable, and appropriate for the size of line and fish they are working with. This is the part of the conversation that matters most. Matching the reel to the actual fishing situation is what determines whether it performs well and lasts. A lighter graphite body reel is completely adequate for panfish, trout, and lighter bass work in freshwater. Stepping up to a heavier, full metal body reel makes sense when you move to bigger targets, heavier line, or any saltwater application. A tournament angler or guide who fishes hard 5 days a week will get real value from a high-end reel's tighter tolerances, quality gears, and smoother drag. An occasional weekend angler doing 12 or 15 trips a year will get the same functional result from a $50 or $60 reel that is matched to those conditions and properly maintained. And yes, I know some of you are going to disagree with that last part. Some of you are going to say the nicer reel just feels better, and that matters to you. Fair enough. There is nothing wrong with spending more money on something you enjoy using. What matters is that you understand what you're paying for. You're paying for feel, finish, precision tolerances, and performance under heavy demand. If those things are worth it to you, great. Just don't let the marketing convince you that the cheaper reel is going to cost you fish. At most freshwater applications, with a reasonable level of care, it is not. Let me know in the comments how long your current spinning reel has lasted and what brand it is. I want to know if anybody has a story where a budget reel genuinely outlasted something they paid 3 or 4 times more for. Because those stories exist, and they are worth hearing. The takeaway from all of this is straightforward. Premium reels can last a long time in the hands of an angler who fishes hard, maintains their equipment properly, and is using that reel for the conditions it was built to handle. Budget reels can also last a long time in the hands of an angler who fishes moderately, maintains the basics, and matches the reel to appropriate demands. The failure that shows up in year 1 or year 2 is almost always a combination of mismatched application and neglected maintenance, not just a question of how much the reel cost at the register. Good fishing gear is the gear that fits the way you fish, holds up through the conditions you put it through, and does its job without creating another problem. That definition does not have a price tag on it. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who is about to drop $200 on a reel they don't need yet. I'm Jerry Davis, and I'll catch you in the next one.